All right. Let me see if I can get Stonebot working. Thank you, Stream Elements. What did I name Stonebot again? Stonebot? It's a wild thing to call a bot. Do this. That's that thing. Okay. Give me this. I at this point, I feel like I really should just have a script for this. It's kind of annoying to make into a thing. Okay. Okay, there we go. Bot should be working. Okay. Let me send out the Discord. Bam. Get rid of the embed. Not a fan. Okay. Sweet. I think I got everything set up. Let me switch over to the screen. Sweet. Yo. What's up, RGC? How's it going? Didn't you go live not too long ago? I feel like I saw that notification. I mean, I'm glad you're here, but like... I did Basalt for dinner. Gotcha. How was it? How'd your stream go? I think you were doing Geometry Dash, right? I forgot about dinner, low-key. Dude, I do that so much. I'll like start, I'll get invested in a project and then work on it until like 8 p.m. and then realize I haven't eaten yet, and I'll be like, oh, I should probably do that. It went fine, only lasted 20 minutes though. I hate when that happens. I was playing Milkman Carson by Danny, if you remember that YouTuber. I do, and I vaguely remember that game, I think. Carlson. Milkman Carson. Hang on. I'm going to search for it because I feel like I recognize that. 5 years ago. 6 years ago. Jeez. Yeah. I vaguely remember this. Carlson is thirsty and only you can help him get his milk. That definitely sounds like a YouTuber video game. Yep. Milkman Carlson and just Carlson are different, by the way. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Wild. All right. So, ooh. Sorry, I smashed my desk. Yo, what's up, Glitch? How's it going? Oh, what the heck? Wait, does that... Glitch, you have a badge on you. It says watching without audio. Does that show up for everybody else? That's weird. I'm really hoping I didn't just call you out for that, because like I had it in last stream. I forgot to switch back. Okay. I just wanted to know. There's a joke unlockable in the game that costs 500,000 in game. I assume that's a lot. I don't know what the money scaling is in the game. And in 2024, I tried getting it and did a bunch of streams. Okay. I just tried doing another one for fun, not actually planning to return to it fully until Danny returns. Is Danny ever gonna return? I feel like that's a huge if. I don't know what happened. I know that they left, and I don't really know why. I feel like at one point I knew, but I forgot. Anyway, what are we doing? We are working on a project. So, I have this notes file, which I've been writing down like all of my ideas and stuff. Why is there an asterisk here? Oh, just because I changed the notes. I thought that meant that. Whatever, it's fine. So this, I think I showed this last stream. But what I did not show last stream is me adding a bunch of things to this list and then completing those tasks and thus removing them from this list. So I think this list is like half of what it used to be at one point, and I don't think I ever showed like the full list on stream. I think I did a lot of it off stream. But this is the kind of stuff that I want to work on. I think for today's stream, we're gonna try and do this part. So I've quote unquote finished spectator view in that I have placed all of the levels around, and I'll show you that in a second. But I want to add a way so that you can like select a racer and then the camera will automatically follow them around in the spectator view, because I think that would be cool. I also have some stuff to show you guys about the spectator view, because I made some creative decisions, and I'm not sure if they were good, so you guys can be the judges. And then I do want to address this because I think it'll be relatively easy to do that. But basically, the way that the mod works is it will attempt to read every packet as if it was properly formatted, which means if somebody were to like send a packet that's not big enough, then the game will still try and read past the data that's been allocated, and that can throw an exception and it'll crash your game, which is kind of bad, because then if somebody wants to crash your game, they can just send a packet that's not formatted correctly and they can crash your game, which is not cool. So I'm going to try and address that. So 2 main things this stream, I think. Maybe we'll try and do the custom color sliders, but we'll see. The rest of this stuff is kind of like, I don't know, maybe we could do the save settings, but some of this other stuff I have to do off stream because it involves looking at some of the other code in the game. And I know I've shown the game code in other streams, like when I was working on the quantum power bug, but if I can minimize the amount of actual code that I show on stream, I should probably do that. So that's the idea. It's a few months away for real this time. Okay, what makes you think it's for real this time? There's Megabonk, which is almost certainly Danny's work, or at least someone who knows Danny. Okay, interesting. I did not know Danny was involved with Megabonk. Either Megabonk was made by Danny or Vetinad pulled one of the biggest, almost most advanced trolls ever. Oh, and either it was made by Danny or Venonat pulled one of the biggest, most advanced trolls ever. Okay. I don't know a whole lot about that game, so yeah. I didn't know Danny had anything to do with it. That'd be cool though, if Danny came back. They were one of the YouTubers I watched semi regularly. Read my message above the for real this time. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. My bad. Yeah, apparently he's actively working on the next video. It'll be another month or two though. Oh, okay, gotcha. Sure. No, I believe you. Definitely, I totally believe you. Okay, okay. First, before I show you the spectator view, I'm kind of excited about this part. So, part of the mod, or part of the spectator view specifically, involves a ton of sprites, right? If I open the sprite folder here, these are all the sprites that need to be imported in order for the spectator view to work. Now, the reason that there are so many of them is because Game Maker's sprite sheets, I think they can sometimes be like 4,000 something, whatever 2048 times 2 is, math. But I think they're almost always a maximum of 2048 by 2048. And some of the levels in the game are larger than that. So I had to split up a lot of the levels into 2048 by 2048 squares. And so they're all sliced. And so there's a lot of them, and they're relatively large. And it takes a while to actually import them. So when I want to like make the actual patch file, it can take a while. Now, it might be easy to like just have one .win, data.win file that I just like constantly copy and paste in another location so I can like quote unquote save it. Or I could do what I've done here, and I have created a script that will build every part of the project, including both versions of the mod. So the mod for the speedrunner version, these are like arguments for running the build script. So you can build it for either version of the game, or you can build the server for either Windows or Linux. Or you could do like everything all at once, because it's multi-threaded and it will build everything all at the same time. And then it'll automatically produce, the win files, the Xdelta patch files, and then the server executables. And all I have to do is run a single command. It's awesome. It'll do all of that stuff for me, so I don't have to like manually import sprites and the code and link everything up. It'll do it automatically. And a lot of it is done through this script, which is very long and convoluted because the Undertale mod tool CLI is significantly less. How should I put this? It doesn't have as much utility as the regular tool itself. The CLI has like significantly less functionality. So it took a while to figure out this script, but eventually I got it working. And it is very cool. Yo, what's up, Mirhin? Sophisticated. Yeah, we can go with that. Sophisticated. Also, yo, do you want me to ask Jonas if he's okay with you showing decompiled code on stream? It's not like you could recreate the whole game from a few scripts or even a sizable part of it. Nah, it's fine. I mean, I'm trying to make the mod as... I don't know what the right way to phrase this, but like I'm trying to make it in addition to the base game and not mess with any of the base game's assets, if that makes sense. So like all of my code is in addition to the base game's code. I'm not changing any existing code. and it makes it a lot easier to do like on stream stuff, because then I don't have to worry about showing base game code, and I can only show, or I can get away with showing only stuff that I'm working on, which is not like too terrible of a thing. It's not that hard to do, is what I'm saying. Are you using Undertale mod lib for this, I assume? I mean, it's I'm using it in the script, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like the script runs the CLI, which then runs this script, which has the lib stuff in it. So in a way, yes. Yeah. But okay. So I've got the build script. I've also got setup scripts, which is kind of neat. Because you need the Undertale mod tool to actually like create the win file, and then you need xdelta in order to create the patch file. And then if you don't already have the game files, then you need the depot downloader to download the game files. And then in order to compile the server, you need .NET, and in order to run the build script, you need Python. So I created a setup script that will download all of those tools, so that if you want to contribute and you don't have any of those tools already, you can just run the setup script and it'll get all of it for you. It doesn't do it for Python and .NET, because typically like installing either one of those things is a little bit more involved, and you typically want like a slightly more custom installation process. But for like the other tools, you pretty much just need the exe on Windows if it's an exe. For xdelta, there's just like a package for Linux. Actually, that's this setup script. Because like, yeah, it's like it just runs apt-get install xdelta 3. But with Windows, you actually need to like install or you need to download the files from GitHub and then get the exe from it. It's a whole thing. Windows is nice. We love Windows. It's awesome. Oh, by the way, I got this new sound.
Fuck Microsoft! Okay. Fuck!
We love Windows. It's awesome. All I'm saying is don't be scared to show some game code on stream if you need to inspect how a piece of the game works. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't need to for some of the stuff that I'm planning on doing on stream, but I got you. All right. So let's actually run it, and so I can show you the spectator view, because with some of the level locations, I had to be slightly creative, because why did it do that? Because they are not like, they're not laid out in the nicest of ways, which obviously makes sense for a video game, but like physically it doesn't. Some things are going to overlap. So you can see I don't have AO 1.1 up top anymore, because there's AO2, AO3, AO4. And the reason that I included all of these levels is because technically, if you're doing a speed run, you don't ever have to enter AO 1.1. You can go through AO2, AO3, and AO4. So I'm going to include those levels in the spectator view as well, even though technically I don't need to if everybody's doing the AO 1.1 strats, which like the vast majority of people are, but again, technically it's possible. So I feel the need to include it. So I put AO 1.1 over here, and because AO5 only has like one entrance, you can't really line up the exit to both of the levels with the entrance to AO5. So I kind of just put AO 1.1 close enough to where it almost lines up with the entrance to AO5. Now that does mean that, like, if you're watching in the spectator view, that does mean that the players are going to like teleport from up here all the way over here, which might be a little bit jarring, but I think it's fine. Just copy what Jonas Travels did, put some long ass tunnels to make room for the ones that would normally overlap. I could do that, but then you have to like, it's more cumbersome to navigate. It's also kind of a pain for me to actually implement. Like, this part's easy. I just have to like slap on the sprites in the location that I specify. But if I want to draw like tunnels and stuff, it's going to be a bit more involved, which isn't that bad. Like, I could do it if I wanted to, or if it was funny that I could do that. But yeah, so I went ahead and took the creative liberty to put A 1.1 here, which I think is fine. I think for the rest of this, it's fine. These all line up. For this level, I don't really know how this should line up because the exit is one block wider than the entrance. But I figured, hey, you're going to be like pressing left anyway when you like enter A13, so I'll just line it up with the left wall here, which I thought was fine. I did have to clean up a couple of the levels because I accidentally left some stuff in. So like the way that I got these images is I just, you know, there's a resource exporter. What is it? Export all rooms to PNG is how I got these images. And then so the way that the levels are designed is that everything that could be in the level by default is in the level. And it's and the way that things are removed from the level if they don't need to be there is they added an object on top of like imagine there was a spike that was supposed to be here on easy difficulty, but it's not supposed to be there on infinitely easy. So the spike would exist in the level, but there would be an additional object on top of the spike that had code to despawn the spike if you're on a particular difficulty. And so any trap or anything that was in the level that shouldn't be there in a particular difficulty, they would just cover with that other object. So if you use this script to export all the levels to PNG, it's going to include all of that. So I had to go through and remove all of that stuff, both like the spikes and all the traps that weren't supposed to be there in infinitely easy, and all of the objects that were used to cover up those objects. I had to do that all manually before I could export them, which is fine. I'm just saying that in that process, I sometimes missed some things. So I had to go back and clean it up a bit. And I probably still missed a couple of things, but that's why it's still in beta, so that you guys can catch my mistakes. Why exactly did you choose to keep the spike there? Which one? This one? Is that not supposed to be there? Did I miss one? Hang on. What level is that? Shoot, I forgot. I immediately forgot what level it is. This one, A15. Is it not supposed to be? Are you gaslighting me? No, it's there. But I never look at that wall. It just looked odd. It does. No, you have no idea. I have the exact same thought for like almost every single one of the levels that I did. And I was like, shoot, does that look right? Is that supposed to be there? And I had to double check it like 3 times for every single level because I thought I was going crazy the entire time. Ugh. Pretty sure some of the objects use a separate creation code that removes them. A creation code is code that can be run for only a single instance in a room. So let me, I can probably show this, right? Let me go into rooms. Can probably show. What does this look like? Yeah. So here, whoop. I don't know what I just did. I can't use the undo button. So like this, right? This spike is not supposed to exist in easier difficulties. So they just slapped this like scribbly object on top of it. And I think, okay, I don't know where the code exists exactly, but like this is how they determine to get rid of the objects. They just slap this object on top of it. And so initially, no, I didn't want to move that. Whatever. So initially, what I was planning on doing was just going into GIMP and editing out all of this stuff. And then I realized that that would be an absolutely monstrous task. I should not be doing it that way. So then I went through every room and I like, luckily you can just like, click a checkbox and make a bunch of things invisible all at once, which made some of the levels easier, but like they're not always on the same layers in certain rooms, and so I still had to like go in and find where the objects were located to hide them, and sometimes you can't just make them invisible, sometimes you have to delete them outright. It was a whole process. Check the jellyfish and Helpy. Yeah. So that was the other thing, is that along with like spikes, all of the water level elements were there too. Ball boss. Yeah, here we go. So all in the pump inverted version of this level, there are jellyfish here. So the jellyfish are just there by default, which means I also had to go through and make sure that the pump inverted version of all the levels, like I filtered all of that stuff out too, because there are like water currents and things in some of the levels that shouldn't have them in a speed run. Or like if you're doing an any percent speed run, you're not going to invert the pump. So I had to remove all of that stuff. I mean, they don't have that scribble object. Oh, I see. Yeah, and then this creation code. Yeah. But yeah, like this is different, right? Like it's explicitly checking for the pump inversion, whereas the spikes have like that object on top of it. Anyway, I don't remember what I was doing. Spectator. Okay. Oh, that's right. I wanted to show off some of the other level placements that I had. Hello? Okay. But yeah, if I accidentally move an object or anything, it used to be the case that was like life or death, because there was no way for me to just like, I don't know, there might be an undo button, but I haven't found it. But before, I didn't remember the value for that thing, so I would just like scrap it and then rebuild everything. Which is probably not the fastest way to deal with that scenario, but anyway, now that I have the build script, it doesn't matter, so I just run the build script. Yeah, I think chapter A is fine. Oh, I did implement this feature where it loads in one by one, so it doesn't absolutely like crash your game. It does lower your FPS until everything is loaded in, and then you can like close out and come back in, and all the like it just takes a while for all the sprites to get loaded into VRAM, but as soon as that happens, then it's pretty quick. But it used to be the case where like if you tried to load in too many sprites, then it would try and load all of them in all on the same frame, and so you like the game would freeze for a couple of seconds. But now it doesn't do that, which I think I showed off on stream. I don't remember. Yeah, so some of the connections are a little bit weird, like this one, because like the exit is vertical but the entrance is horizontal, so I just had to put them as close as possible, just in a way that made sense. So there's just kind of like a void there. I mean, probably more tedious to do, but I think it could be an idea at some point to make a script which zooms out, screenshots, and skims through all the levels so that you can easily get everything both in color and the correct difficulty. But for this purpose, this is definitely good as well. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But the other thing is that like I don't mind it being grayscale here, because the main point of spectator view is to look at the racers, right? Which the racers, I mean, they they could choose to make themselves gray, but most likely they're not going to be. So especially when you're like zoomed out like this, it'll make it a little bit easier to spot the racers. So I'm not too upset about it being grayscale. Okay, but what if you made the spectator mode a separate program written in a faster language than GML so you can load the objects individually? I mean, I could do that, but like then you'd have to run a different program in order to spectate. It's not a bad idea. I just don't think I'm going to do it. Yeah, same thing here. You got the weird like corner connection. This one also. Okay, you exit B13 on the right side of the level, but you enter B14 also on the right side of that level. And then you exit B14 on the right side of the level again. So like how am I supposed to make this connection? Like in a way that makes sense, you know? Like I could put it entirely above the level maybe, and then it's like, okay, well you know, logically you're just like moving up in this U shape, but like then in order to connect B15, it would have to be like basically on top of this, and it would cover up part of the exit. So like gets a little bit weird. So I just chose to place it like technically above the exit, but still up against it in a weird way. So then you're teleporting from here to here. I don't know. It seems okay, but also like how are you supposed to make that connection? Okay, I am gray now. Oh no. That'd be weird for a mod, right? Yeah, I mean, like it would just be a separate thing, I would imagine. Rotate it. Okay. You say that as a joke. Just wait until we get to chapter E. All right? That entire chapter is a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah, again, we have the same situation here where like if we line up the entrance and exit, then the exit to this one just hits a wall. And also the entrance to the next level is on the left side, which the exit is also on the left side. So then you get the weird like you can't connect these two. Oh no. Yeah, it gets interesting. I feel like I made okay decisions with how to place it. The main reason I suggest the separate program is it's kind of bad to not see what someone dies what someone dies to when they die to an enemy, having different colored copies of the enemies for each player could work, but there's no way that would run in GML, I think. I mean, if something's moving in the level, then it's like most moving things in this game are subject to RNG. So you would have to, like, along with the player's position data, you would also have to send the position of every enemy in order to get that visualization. And like that's just not happening. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not doing that. like for lasers, because they don't move, like maybe you could send a single bit to represent whether or not they're on, but like that's too much. I like these placement decisions generally. Nice. Okay, I'm happy to hear that, because it's okay for now. Just wait. I know that's why you need to be a separate program. I like it's not even a thing about speed. It's about network, right? Because like some player is gonna have to send that data to somewhere, either some server or to your computer directly, in order for your computer to display that information. Sending that data is too big of a task. It's just not going to happen. It's possible for sure, but I'm not going to do it. If somebody else wants to, they can. It's not going to be done by me. But like GML could do it for sure. Absolutely. I have no doubt about that part. Yo, what's up, Ren? What's up? How's it going? I mean, and that's not to say that writing it in a different language is a bad idea. I think it's okay, but I think it'd be fine for GML. I like, unless your frame rate is already struggling, in which case then maybe it's not the best idea, but I think it's okay. I think it's fine. 2 months in a row too. Just got home. Nice. Welcome. Speaking of home, I am alive, which is cool. But there was a tornado last night that was like, I don't think it was, I mean, I got hit with like rain and wind and stuff, but I don't know how close it was. I don't know if it was like 1 or 2 cities over. But it's the second one that's happened in a couple of months. What you working on? The mod. The racing mod. Okay, but one thing in the editor would be funny: the death particles. Yeah, but the thing is, you can turn that off, I'm pretty sure, right? In your graphic settings, you can turn that off. So then it's like, okay, if you have that turned off, should I still show the death particles for other players? Like, I guess it's not that bad to just check if that setting is ticked on or not, but I'm not a huge fan of like messing with how stuff is displayed, which I realize is like kind of weird for a mod like this, but I think you get the idea, right? You get the idea. 'Tis spring for you. Yeah, the changing of seasons causes them. Yeah. Although I don't remember a whole lot of them happening last year is the thing. Like I've lived in the current place, in my current place, for about a year, and I feel like this is at least the second tornado that's happened this year. It might be there might have been a third one. But like there were almost 0 last year, I feel like. Maybe I moved to the wrong apartment. Anyway, this is another one of those weird connections that I can't like line up properly because the levels would overlap. This one's not too bad because it's like kind of obvious that you're just, going straight across. And then we've got another corner connection here. Again, I just tried to make it so that the exit and entrance were as close as possible. Ren, to give you a little bit more context, this is a spectator view of all the levels in the game. And if another, I can probably show this off. If I start up another instance of the game here, let me become a host and then connect. And then here in a second, this pops up. I'm going to put this on my other monitor so that you can see what's going on. If I connect, you can see up in the top, there's now 2 people. And then if in this other one, I go ahead and enter A1, boom, you can see there is the other character. And so you can watch them play the whole game, which is kind of cool. But some of the levels had to be connected in very interesting ways, so I am showing that off. I don't remember where we left off, but it was probably somewhere over here. Yeah, again, weird corner connection. Did I already show Chapter B? I feel like I did. Is that... Yeah, I did show Chapter B. Okay, I'm going crazy. Why'd you guys have to distract me? Yeah, we were talking about the tunnel. Okay. I'm back again. Just as the Amelia sound at 100% visual settings. Right, yeah. Could change the sound effect for like navigating the pause menu so that it's the gunshot sound. So you just get blasted with a gunshot sound effect every time you navigate. That might be too cruel though. That might be a little bit cruel. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. I feel like it's okay. Are you sending just the position data and sometimes rotation if only the enemies in the room and the player is actively isn't feasible? It's like 2 numbers X, Y position and sometimes 1 for rotation though. For the enemies, yeah, but then you'd have to send multiple packets. Because you only get like I've talked about this a little bit before, but 1400 bytes is like the approximate limit, and I've set a limit of 1024 just because that's a relatively nice number to work with. If you want to send, so a single X coordinate is a floating point number, which is 32 bits, which is 4 bytes. So an X, a Y, and a rotation is going to take 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 4 bytes. It's going to be 12 bytes. Now, there's a maximum of 16 players per lobby. So you multiply that 12 bytes by the number of enemies in the level, and then multiply that by 16 because you can have potentially all 16 players in that level. It starts to add up, right? And you've got all this other information, like you need to send the information relevant for the leaderboard. You have to send the information relevant to actually drawing the other players on the screen. And you also have to mess around with the fact that like you have to send the information for like what the enemy type is. So like some of the levels in Chapter C have both fish and jellyfish. So you'd have to send some kind of ID, which is, can probably just be done in a single byte, but again, it's just additional bytes. You know, you could display a very simplified version of the fish, but if you want to display all the fins and stuff, then you've got additional bytes that you have to send for that. So you're gonna have to send multiple packets per frame if you want to get all of that visual data like in a way that looks correct. Which means that the server is going to be under more load, and the individual players are going to have to process more packets per frame. They already have to process. Most of the time, they only have to process a single packet per frame. But occasionally, like every 3 seconds, it'll send an additional packet for like stuff that doesn't update all the time, which is like the player's name, the color of their snail, and stuff like that. But like you've already got, you know, all the network latency with sending a single packet, and now we're talking about like potentially 3 just for all the enemy data. Again, like it's possible. It's just quite a bit, and I don't really feel like it's worth it. It would only be a few enemies at a time per player. The whole game wouldn't have to sync. Yeah, but again, you kind of want the server to send a single packet to every player. It is the way that you want to do that. You don't really want to be sending multiple packets to everybody every frame. That it's going to cause issues. Like again, you can do it. I'm not saying it's like impossible or infeasible. It's just more work than it's worth it for this particular mod. Weather follows a pattern, but not always. The changing of temperature with global warming causes a shift with patterns too, but there's always a chance. Yeah. Makes sense. It's just like, I can't help but correlate the fact that I've moved to a new apartment and the fact that there are all of a sudden a bunch of tornadoes. What did I do to cause this? I promise. I have no effect on the weather. You honestly probably could do it in GML now that I think about it. Yeah. Again, GML is relatively fast, I would say. Now, having looked through the code of this game, I can tell you that the way... I don't want to be mean, but some of the code in this game, I know it's decompiled, but some of the code makes me really question a lot of things. This game should be very performant. It is not a very complicated game. It should be very performant. That's all I'm gonna say. Not my fault I'm so epic and cool. You know what? I disagree. I think it's entirely your fault that you're epic and cool. That's... Don't try and blame other people for that, alright? That's your fault. Starting macro for easy difficulty selection continues to open the entire gunfire. Yeah, but see, you don't have to do that anymore because the mod automatically turns it off. So... Or are you saying you want to switch to easy difficulty, not the automatic difficulty? In that case, yeah. You can get like a machine gun going off in your ear. Only send it to people in spectator mode. Again, that's... look... Again, it is entirely possible, and yeah, there are ways you can like optimize it. I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that. It's just not going to happen for this mod. Where exactly does the 1.4 kilobyte come from, just out of interest? I don't know the history behind it, but like you can theoretically send a packet that's more than that. But I think most... And I don't know the exact technology that's responsible for it, if it's like the router or whatever. But like most devices will automatically split packets if they're too big. which means, data can be received out of order, and you get like all these other kind of complications that come with packets being split up. And so it's ideal if you don't try to send packets that's larger than that. If you want to send more data, you can do that. You just have to like be explicit about splitting up the data in the way that you want. Because if you don't and you try to send too much, then it might be split up in a way that makes things awkward to deal with. 1024 bytes can send 5 enemies if you count all 16 players. That's enough for most rooms. 2 packets at most for big rooms, probably. Yeah, but again, I just don't want to be sending that information. And let's be real, 16 people are not playing this at once. Yeah, but I want to plan for it, all right? I don't want to set the limit too low. There's got to be a limit, and we got to be careful about where we set it. Again, I'm not disputing the fact that it's possible. You could absolutely do it if you wanted to. I'm just not going to be the one to do it. Absolutely relatable. This is a good problem to have, so get good and stop being distracted. You're right, my bad. I should just stop reading chat. You're right. No, you're completely right, all right? I'm going to ignore chat for the rest of stream, and you guys should know that it's Ren's fault. They made a phenomenal suggestion, which I will follow. So again, we have this like weird corner cut here, and because the exit is like right next to the entrance, and the entrance to this one is like also vertical, like again, it's like weird. You can't really line up the entrance and exits here. So I just like put them side by side because I figured that was good enough. This one, again, you've got this weird corner cut. That's fine. This one, you've got like a very extended corner cut here. Like you gotta kind of stretch your imagination a little bit to imagine that, your snail is like traveling up this tube to get the gun. Yeah, chapter D is pretty short, all things considered. This is pretty normal. This got a little bit weird because like the exit again is like kind of close to the entrance, which always makes things kind of tough. Yeah, and then we have another scenario where like it's a U-shaped level where the entrance is on the same side as the exit, which is especially weird because the next level, D08, is also a U-shape, but in the opposite direction. So, like, the player has to go from here and teleport all the way down here. And there's, like, this one tile gap. It's weird. Like, I didn't really know where to put this level, so I put it underneath because I figured that was somewhat logical. I guess I could have put it out here or to the right, but I don't know. I felt like it makes sense. It made sense down here. Just going this way. All of this is pretty normal. You've got like a relatively large corner cut here, but again, what are you gonna do? And then boss fight. So that one's pretty short. If I zoom out here, yeah. Oh, spoilers for going through chapter E, but yeah, chapter D ends here, and the other 3 boss fights are all the way over here. But all right, now we get to chapter E, which begins here. Okay, let me actually read chat. Interesting, didn't know that before. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know why it's 1400 1400. It's like not exactly 1400. It's like 14 something bytes. I don't remember the exact number, but yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting too, because I didn't know that before I started working on this mod. And I was like, okay, how do you send a packet and what kind of limits are there? And then I found that out. Stone is hoping for the one speed sailing Saturday where he wasn't there. Okay, goodbye. Wait, no. Wait, no. I'm reading chat. I'm reading chat. I taught you so well. Yo, Sig Enderman, thank you for the resubscription for 3 months. Nice. How's it going? 0 viewers. No, I promise I'm still reading chat. Is there some teleport to player feature? Like in the spectator view? Not yet. That is what we are going to try and work on eventually, as soon as I show off the level placements that I've made. Excuse me. What's going on? I am going over the spectator view and where I have placed all of the levels within the spectator view. Because it's about to get scuffed. There were placements that were a little bit questionable. Now we're getting into the territory where some of these things just don't make any sense. Yep, spectator view, good to know. Yeah. Jonas Travels. Something like that, yeah. Something like that. Okay, so here's the first issue. EO5. Just in case you don't know, because I know Ren is here. EO5 is this entire long level. And spoilers, if you play the level for the first time, the way that you exit the level is you have to get to the end of it, which will teleport you back to the beginning. So it's supposed to be like an infinite level. The way that you complete the level is that you get to the end once, and then you exit out the left side. So this is another level where the entrance is on the left side and the exit is on the left side. But even better is that the level that comes immediately after it, the entrance is on the right side. So I can't just like put it underneath the main level. I have to make this like weird diagonal jump where, you know, you get to the end of the level, you teleport back to the beginning, and then you hold left to exit, and it looks like you're entering the previous level, but then you just like a teleport down here into the next level. This was the best that I could do. I think that this was relatively reasonable. Spoilers, how dare you? Yeah, I know. The game is how many years old at this point? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Will this allow you to see other players on the map? Yes, that is a feature that has already been implemented. But like Mirhan asked, you can't lock on to a player, like you can't teleport to their location yet, but it does technically display the players in this view. Man, I wanted to figure this out by myself. You are the world record holder. What do you mean? You've done this how many? Like thousands of times? What do you mean you wanted to figure it out on your own? Yo, watch stream. Watch stream words. Thank you. Appreciate you watching the stream. Honestly, it's fine. I wonder if you could draw small arrows from the end of a level to a start for when they don't line up. I could do that, yeah. I've been thinking about making some kind of transition graphic, but obviously I had to start by like actually placing the levels in their correct locations, because if I end up shuffling everything around, then I'm gonna have to also shuffle around the graphics for those transitions, and it would just be so much easier to get all the levels placed first, I am just his twin brother writing over his Twitch account. Watch stream. Thank you for the quote. Okay. So here's where we get like really scuffed. This is probably the most scuffed level placement of them all. So you exit EO6 up top here. And the entrance to the next level not being as wide as the exit to the previous one, like we've seen that before. That's like awkward, but okay, right? The exit to this level is on the right side. The entrance to the next level is on the top, and it's a giant drop. This is the next level. As you can see, if I were to line up the entrance and exit, it would overlap with this level here. So the way that I've gotten around that is so the snail at the start of the level is placed like somewhere around here, right? It's like, I think it's like 1 block. It might be 2 blocks, so it might be like more in the middle of this platform, but it's like somewhere around here. So I've lined it up vertically so that the exit of the level like kind of makes it look like you're dropping down onto this platform. But there's like, how else are you supposed to do this level placement? Like, wait, where am I supposed to put the level, man? There's other levels on top. I can't like, I would have to make the entire thing 3D, and then I could like put things in front of each other. That might be cool. Not doing that, but it would be cool. But yeah. Also, I didn't realize this before, but there's an exit gradient here. That's like in the game. That's in the base game. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know this was here, but it is. I don't think it does anything, but it's there. Which is kind of funny. Oh yeah, EO8. Yeah. Time to rotate that by 90 degrees. The entire EO8. Just rotate it horizontally. It looks like you're falling to the right. But even then, like, even if we rotate it, now you're running into the beginning of the chapter. So, like, there's nowhere to put it. We could rotate it vertically, so it, it looks like we're just inverted gravity, and then we go up. Maybe. Yeah. Then you have a super long horizontal level. Oh yeah, like we don't already have those. Yeah, no, it'd be crazy to have a super long horizontal level. No, yeah, that'd be so funny if we had like a super long horizontal level, right? Yeah, that'd be wild, crazy. Use your imagination. Yeah, pretty much. Maybe you could make the visuals of the players do an animation where they just follow the line of the arrows from the start to the end while they're in the level transition. Ooh. That'd be interesting. But then again, you'd also have to send, well, that might not be the worst idea. Sorry, that came out wrong. I didn't mean to imply that it might be the worst idea. I think that's a good idea. It would be tricky to implement, but we could do that, yeah. That sounds tough. It would be tough, but doable, I think. Wait, what? Time to find a glitch with that? I tried, man. I tried to see if there was anything with this exit, but I don't think there is. It might be the case where if you're somehow able to like hit the hitbox, I don't know. I didn't look too far into the code, but it might be the case where if you hit the hitbox, it transitions you to the next level. I don't think it will, but it might. We could potentially test by like removing some of the blocks here. That'd be interesting. But no, as far as I can tell, there's no like getting into the wall there. Again, we kind of have an awkward transition from the boss fight, but I figured just put it on the right side because, like, yeah, I think it makes sense down here. So, like, you start down here. This is another pretty awkward transition because there are two exits to this level. They're both on the bottom, but the entrance to the next level is on the left. So, again, you're gonna kind of have to use your imagination because most speedrunners will exit the level on the left side, but I couldn't just put the entire level, you know, like over here because then it would cover this exit. So I just put it over here so that like I mean you get the idea, right? Like you drop down here and then you just like yeah. It's probably fine. That exit actually contains the answer to level 5 of the Willy Snail ARG. Oh, I feel like I remember that, but I don't know a whole lot about it. Also, what if you used the prototype Shelly version of the player to show while they're on the path instead of the normal player visuals? Yeah, I could do that. If we do go that route, then that might be the best idea. Stone officially thinking everyone in his chat is the stupidest individual. No, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't turn this into another French situation. All right, I don't hate the French, and I don't think my chat is stupid. All right, that's. I don't think poorly of people like that. All right. Can you look if it's a true exit? Yeah, I'll look here in a second. You'd have to make a grayscale version of the prototype Shelly to support colors, but it'd be cool IMO. Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be that difficult. The difficult part about that would be like actually making the snail follow the line, right? The rest of it's pretty trivial, I think. That's the wall sklip Shelly skip GPT was talking about. I'm sorry, what was this GPT skip? I don't remember that conversation. I feel like I remember it happening, but I don't remember what the content of it was. Why exactly did you choose to keep the drunk level inversely mirrored? Good question. So normally, so like, excuse me. In this level, the camera is flipped, right? It's like rotated 180 degrees. So you would enter the level from here, but you would like it would look on your screen as if you're upside down. And then you'd traverse from your perspective, it looks like you go to the left, but you would actually go to the right. And so because it's the camera that's rotating and not like the player and the level, then like I would have to add, and I can do this, it's not that big of a deal, I just haven't done it because there's been a bunch of other things that I'm working on, all right? I can't implement everything, but I would have to explicitly check to see if the player is in this particular level and then have like an additional condition when I draw the player to flip it vertically. And then I would obviously have to like adjust the visual for this level. Again, entirely possible to do that. It's just not something that's been done. So that's why. The prototype Shelly is literally called SPR Player, by the way. I assume you already know what it looks like. Yeah. I mean, we saw it earlier when I was looking at, like, Helpy. When I was, like, going over all the stuff that I had to remove. Did you painstakingly code the positions of all the rooms in? Yes. There's not really a better way to do that, because I mean, I like, as you can see, there's like it gets pretty funky with the level layouts. So like you kind of have to line it up manually, you know? Like there's not really a better way to do it. Anyway, don't turn this into another French. Oh God, you're making it look like I hate French even more. What I don't. Let me. God damn. I don't hate the French. That's not what I meant. Oh my God. Banger quote. Don't encourage this. Some people don't. No. Yes. I don't. God. It's not rotated. It's mirrored. It should be rotated, right? Because you're not going from left to right on your screen. You're going from right to left. Right? E13. $180 would flip that. What do you mean? Yeah, see, I'm on the right side of the screen now. And I'm on the bottom of the screen. In this level, in this version, you're on the top left, but I'm on the bottom right. Yeah, you are. I just misremembered. Okay. I just asked because you said that the usual exit on the left one, and it'll be fixed. Yeah. Holy. Yeah, it took a couple of hours. It wasn't like that bad, but and now that I have the offsets, then you know we're good. It just took a while to figure it out. I don't even remember who sent it, but somebody asked GPT for some video script on Wheelie Snail, and there were some really interesting inventions. Of course. No, I don't hate the French even more. Stop adding those quotes. God damn it. Definitely haven't played this level thousands of times. Yeah. No, you're making me second guess myself already. I said earlier that I had to like question every decision that I made, and now you're making me question it all over again. You said that? Yeah, but like don't quote it. You don't have to memorialize what I say. Just with a couple words in front and behind. Oh my God. Yeah, that's textbook definition of taking things out of context, all right? This one is egregious. Okay, I was a bit late to reading that one, so I don't know what you're referring to. But this one, yeah, this one's also kind of scuffed, because you can technically exit the level anywhere here, and in order to like line up the floor, you have to like cut off basically the entire top part of the exit. Yeah. And then for this one, so again, spoilers, the way that you're supposed to exit this level is you have to go into the menu and there'll be like a bunch of options for you to exit. And that's the only way that you can move on. So there are by default these blocks in the way. If you complete the level and then enter it a second time, these blocks will not be there and you can just exit normally. But the first time, because of story reasons, those blocks are there. So it makes this transition a bit awkward because it looks like you're entering the wall. But it's fine. Same thing here. You just kind of like teleport into the level. And then yeah, again, there's no exit to the boss, so you're just like teleporting over here, and then same thing with this level. And then you go all the way over here and into the horizon, which is kind of funny. Let me show you that because I feel like it's kind of funny. Because your X position does get updated when you're in the level transition. So let me show you what it looks like when somebody beats the game. Yeah, we're friends, Squid. Don't worry about it. I'm just about to kill you, but it's fine. Don't worry. Okay. About to go into the horizon. And we just goes shooting off to the right before actually exiting the level. That happens for almost that happens for basically every level, but it happens like way more dramatically at the very end, which is kind of funny. You must like it a lot. Guys, should I add stone to my Tomodachi Life Island? What? Some people don't hate the French. Stone response, no. That I meant to say yes. We are dramatically expanding on the whole Stone hates the French lore, aren't we? I cannot say that I'm a fan. Had to think about whether or not to do that one a few minutes ago. That's not how those work. Look, they work however you want it to work. Funny of you to talk about taking things out of context. Looks at my clips. Okay. But that's funny though. But it's okay because it's funny. Will we be testing this next Speed Sailing Saturday? You can if you want to. I mean, it's up on my GitHub, which I can send a link if you want to. Actually, the finished, like with all the levels placed and everything, that is not yet on the GitHub. I mean, the code for it is, but you would have to build the project yourself. It's not released on the GitHub, I should probably say. Does this mean we can get the exploration point without AE? I mean, if there was an exploration point that was like close enough, then maybe. That might be funny to test it. It's not far enough. Sad, yeah. Stone hates the front. What? That's not even. Okay, yeah, I did technically say that. Okay, you're right. Yeah. I think it's enough. Nah. You guys really, you really enjoy torturing me, huh? I mean, I should have figured. I'm streaming on Twitch, but like, anyway. So yeah, you can kind of see if you zoom out and look at everything all together. You know, chapter A, like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. You know, it's like it's sort of a straight line. Chapter B, okay, there's a bit more twists and stuff in it. Okay, chapter C dips a little bit far down, but then it comes back. Chapter D is a little bit shorter, but it still makes sense. And then there's just chapter E. There, like, there's chapter E is so scuffed, man. At least for like 6 days. Yeah, in a week, you're legally allowed to start making fun of me for hating the French again. By the way, you are in control of what quotes are there, so you can just straight up not allow it. I mean, yeah, I can, you know, if I want to remove a quote, I can. Oui, baguette, 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 baguette. Yeah, that's not. I mean, that's okay. That's definitely not how the quote system works. But okay. This looks like Metroid's Hollow Knight. He did not say this remove. You can remove it if you want to. Now he said while reading the message, so it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think laying it out like this is good. Because obviously you could just chain it all together in one really long line. But I think splitting it up by chapter makes it a lot easier to navigate, so you're not like, you know, moving to the right for 5 million years to try and find something. One of the other things I've debated is, so if you shut up, Squid. So if you open the spectator view just like by default, it shows you AO1. And I was debating potentially starting the camera like somewhere in the middle-ish. Just, I don't know, to make it a little bit easier to navigate where you're going the first time that you open the menu. I say menu, but whatever. But like also, I feel like it makes a little bit more sense like what exactly this is showing. Maybe that's not even true. I don't know. Maybe I should start it like being somewhat zoomed out and like kind of in the middle here.
Oui, baguette, 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 baguette.
Thanks. Heading out. All right. Have a good one. I appreciate you being here. Enjoy hating the French. Okay, I take it back. I hope you have a terrible time. Come on. I think chapter E is fine. It's definitely scuffed, but I don't know. I feel like all the decisions I made were somewhat reasonable. It's just very funny to look at in hindsight. You could literally put the Black Egg Temple there, and it would low-key fit the vibe of the map. Baguette, yeah. Yeah, it kind of slowed down there at the end. Enjoy. No, I was reading a message. Do you do you genuinely want me to stop reading chat? I will. I could just I could read it in my head. And then, well, I was going to say then nobody would know what you said, but I'm showing chat on my stream. Okay. Anyway, you have to know what to read. I just read what's in the chat. I don't like if I think that somebody's gonna take something out of context, I'm not gonna like. I don't know. I'm not gonna like vet the things that I say because of that. I'm gonna go to sleep now, and I don't want to see no more French quotes when I wake up. I would agree. Yeah, I would hope that you would not see any more French quotes when you wake up. Anyway, have a good night. Yo, what's up, Vlad? How's it going? We'll see. Marianne, don't say that. No, this is a great stream, guys. I really enjoy doing this. You know, I spent like a week, you know, working on this project. I feel like I made a lot of progress, and I was excited to show it off. So I'm really glad that everybody, you know, joined in with that excitement. And yeah, no, I'm happy that you're here. Really. Oh, sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You're good. Okay, so what I completely forgot what I even wanted to do. We want to make a maybe did we want to mess around with the exit? We could actually do that. I don't remember what room it is. Oh my word, why is the scroll bar a dot? Random fall? I think this is it, right? Yeah, here we go. Goal gradient. Does it have any collision? It's got a pre-create. It's also got a step. Okay, this just changes the alpha. Alarm? Okay. And create. Yeah, okay, so I don't think it actually does anything. You know what, we can, let's yeet that. There is no longer wall. Let's see what happens. Loki, I can't wait to see an actual race with this. I also realized that there was a bit of an issue. Not an issue. I don't really know what to call it. It's not like a bug. It's just that it wasn't working optimally. So the position information that was getting sent with every packet was being sent on like the regular step event, but the player's position was also being updated on the step event. So but the player's step event was happening after the packet got sent. So you would always, so the packet would always be sending the position information for the frame prior. And so I fixed that issue. So compared to the last Speed Sailing Saturday, player positions should be slightly more accurate. I mean, I'm pretty sure like if you just like fall out of the level, yeah, it counts. So like I don't even have to hit that. Yeah, I just have to exit the level, or like exit the bounds of the level in whatever way. But yeah, because there's no, as far as I know, there's no way to glitch through a wall, then I don't really think we can do anything with that gradient. It'd be funny though. Wasn't there something else that we wanted to test? I missed the most important speed sailing Saturday yet. I mean, it wasn't that bad, you know? Or it wasn't like, it wasn't that good, I should say. Like, it was alright, you know? I wouldn't say that it was the most important. What's the alarm code? It just resets itself and then assigns the alpha. I already knew you'd just go to the next room because going off the edge of the room when there's not a special invisible room exit trigger takes you to the next room that appears in Undertale mod tool. Okay. Makes sense. I feel like there was something else that we wanted to test, and I don't remember what it was. What happened to my create? I want this open. Okay. Gold gradient. Yeah, so I don't think it's the gradient that does anything. Anyway. Okay. So we want like a selected racer. Right? And we could just set that to -1 for now. And the way that I'm going to do this is going to be a little bit weird. And it's probably not like the most optimal, but I think it's going to be the easiest. So in a way, it is the most optimal. All right. So we've got selected racer. Basically what we want to do, so every time we draw something, we are like doing some calculations to figure out where all the levels should be laid out on screen. And that is based on this X offset and Y offset. So if I were to so just like when you're holding the mouse down, it updates that stuff. If I were to just like override that information by saying is equal to, well, we would have to check. So we'll do like if, what did I call it? Is it gonna let me do this? No. I know, I left an empty if statement. I'm the worst programmer in the world. What did I call this? I called it selected racer. That makes sense. Just say if selected racer is not equal to -1, and then we can say we would have to find it first, actually. So like the way that I want to do this, or the way that players are identified, is through the IP and the port. So like, let me go. Oh, my word. Yeah, I know I left it empty. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go over here. Network Manager. Create, maybe. That's just this racer. Where am I creating? If we receive a packet, which happens where? User 2? Yeah. So if basically if we receive a packet from, or was like we've got a list of racers, right? And we store their IP in their port. And if we receive a packet from an IP and port combination that has not been seen before, then we create a new entry into that racer list. So that's how they're identified. I left an empty if statement. I am the worst programmer in the world. Menager. Okay, this is on my Todo as well now. Yes. I'm getting you to use my programming language, which is not an actual programming language. It's just the language that I use to talk about programming stuff. I'm going to go for now. See ya. All right. Have a good one, RGC. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Holy Bible, right? Started ignoring me on the day of the meeting, but he only replied today, and it turns out his mother beats him despite the fact that he's already 18 years old. The most important thing is that he has at least started responding to my messages now. But to be honest, I don't know why it was necessary to arrange a meeting then. Maybe he really wanted to, but his mother tried to dissuade him, or was forced to go to the dacha. But I suspect one thing, it was not his will. Still online. That I am. True, Stonebot. Stonebot has never once told a lie. Anyway. Yeah, no, I'm sad to hear that, Vlad. I'm sorry that that's happening. So my point was that the port and the IP is used to determine whether or not we have a new racer. Yeah, so this condition here, this is what I was looking for. So if the IP that we're searching for is like the IP that we received from the packet, and the port is the same as the one we received from the packet, then, you know, we make a new one. Or like we identify that, and if we don't identify it, then we make a new one. That's my whole point. My whole point is that we use the IP and the port to identify a racer. So, in our create event here, we're setting this to -1, which is just to indicate that there is no racer selected. In the step event, we need to update the X and Y offset only if we have a racer selected. Now, how do we know which racer is selected? The IP and the port. So, eventually, when we make the mechanism that actually allows you to select a racer, we will have some code that looks something like this, right? We're going to say selected racer equals, and then we can just define a new object here, and we can say IP, is it a colon? I don't remember if it's a colon, but we can say IP and then, like, you know, some IP here, and then same thing with the port, right? So the selected racer is just going to be an object that contains an IP and a port if there is a selected racer. If there's not a selected racer, then this is just going to be equal to -1. So if the selected racer is not equal to -1, that means we have a selected racer, and we can say X offset is equal to some value and Y offset is equal to some value. But in order to know the X and Y value of the racer that we're looking for, again, the selected racer has the IP and the port. We first have to iterate over. Let me just put these to 0 because it's going to get mad at me. We have to first locate that racer's information, right? Which, as I said before, is just a list. If I go into the create, other racers, here we go. Yep, it's just a DS list. So I should have a reference to that. Do I not? I have a reference to the main menu. It does not appear that I have a reference to the network manager. So maybe that's something that I should have. Do I need access to the entire network manager or just the list of other racers? I think I just need access to the list of other racers. By the way, to see some positive, non-ironic feedback, nice to see the progress. You're doing great. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I was like partially kidding earlier, but I also wasn't kidding when I said that I put a lot of effort into this. So I'm really glad to hear that you like it. Stonebot has never once told a lie. Fact check true. Great. Now when Stonebot recites that quote, it can be like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. I have to take your VIP now. I don't even remember what I said. Okay, so we only need access to the list of other racers. We don't even need access to the network manager itself. So we can actually just say other racers is equal to instance find obj network manager dot other racers, right? Now when this compiles, it's going to turn into an ID number instead of like obj network manager, but when I copy and paste this into the actual code files that are like in the project, I'll have to translate that. But like if I hit save right now, you can see it gets converted into 655. But I do have to translate that because the IDs of all the objects and everything are not the same across the game versions. So like the speedrunner version is the version that I'm working in right now. This ID would be different in the modern version of the game. So I can't just leave it as this number. When I move the code over, I'm going to have to change that. Anyway, we have access to the other racers. Now, the network manager is persistent, so it always exists as soon as it's created, which means that this is never going to run into any kind of couldn't find the instance issue. It always exists. So first thing we need to do is iterate over that list. Var I equals 0, I is less than ds list size, other racers, I plus plus, and then we can say if, maybe it's a good idea to say other racer is equal to ds list find value. Whoop, oh, come on. My microphone is in my way. I swear I'm a better typer. Other racers index I. So we grab the other racer and we want to say if the other racer dot IP is equal to the selected racer dot IP and the other racer dot port is equal to the selected racer dot port, that means that that's the one that we want, right? So then we can say, let's just do like var racer data is equal to -1, and then we can say racer data is equal to other racer break. So as soon as we find the one we're looking for, we assign it to this variable and then escape the loop. And then we can say if the racer data is equal to -1. So this just means that we didn't find the selected racer in the list, which would indicate that they've disconnected. If that's the case, then we can just reset selected racer to -1. There we go. And then we can just exit this whole thing because we don't need to do anything else. Now, if racer data is not -1, that means we do have access to its x and y value, but its x and y value is relative to the room that it's in. So we first have to figure out, we first have to apply the offset to the racer's X and Y value, and then we can apply it here. I think is the way that I've done that. And I don't entirely remember, but we're going to find out. Okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of a super easy way to test this without having to add like buttons on the screen, because that's a bit tedious. But I think there's an easy way to test it. Anyway, so let's just for now we can just set this equal to exactly racer data.x and racer data.y, or the other way around. I'm dumb. Can save that. Okay. And then I believe, yeah, get transformed X. No, this is something different. This is for like drawing it to the screen. Get spectator view data, I don't think is right. It's like this thing, right? The offset code that I just showed. SCR get level offset. Okay. So we need to call this, and I don't remember what you're supposed to give it. Level offset is equal to the result of that. I don't remember what the parameter is for this one. My name is Tito. How's it going? What you cooking? I am cooking a multiplayer mod for Will You Snail. Currently working on, so there's a spectator view that like gives you an overview of all the levels. Currently working on a feature where you can select somebody playing the game, and you can like, the camera will follow them in the spectator view. I think, yeah, so it's okay, this is a little bit weird, but it's like, it's the level index within the global array. That's what you provide to this function to get the offset. And I think I do this in the draw event, right? How does this one working? Get level offset, level index. Level indices? What did I make that? Level indices. Oh, I see. Do I see? Hang on. Wait, why is this phrased? Why is it, what? Why is it typed out like that? Shouldn't it just be this? Hang on. Why is it weird? Why is it being weird? As in like a third person view? Kind of. Like it's the same camera perspective as the base game. Because the base game is already like basically a side-on view. It's like, okay. I was gonna show you what it looks like, but really? So I do need the weird like GML script? What? Is that how it is in the in this? I think it's spectator view create. No, and this one is just SCR get spectator view data. Why did it change it? I don't know, but I guess I'm not gonna question it. Okay, so let me search for this. Yeah, see, like it, I don't know, it does something weird. Okay, level indices. Oh, right, it's a different thing. Okay, so I probably have to, like, okay, this is gonna be awkward. I know how to do it. It's gonna be awkward. Sorry for my lack of explanation. I'm just thinking everything through. Oh, you know what? It shouldn't crash now because I reverted that change. Let me show you. Let me show you what it looks like. All goods. Okay. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so like this is, that's just like regular levels, and then this is the spectator view. You can like zoom out. It's a little bit slow to load, but eventually all the levels get loaded in. And it'll show other players on this. Now, I don't have it connected to anything, so there's no other players to show, but theoretically it would show other players in this view. And you could like move around and see them and everything. So like same camera perspective as the base game. It's just that you can see all the levels all at the same time. Okay. So in Racer Data, there is something called current room. Yeah, current room. That's what I want. So I want to say our level index is equal to ds list find index, and the list that we're going to look through is some global list, and I don't remember the name of it, so I'm going to look it up here in a second, but I want to look for the racer data dot current room. So there's a giant list of all the campaign levels in the game, with their like room IDs. So every racer has the room ID that they're currently in, and that gets sent around. So I can use that to look up the index within that global list that contains the room ID, which I can then pass into this get level offset function, which will give me the X and Y coordinates for that particular level, so that I can then move the camera to the correct location. So I can throw a level index into here. I promise it makes sense. Maybe. Okay, so what exactly is the thing that I'm trying to look for? It's like, you know what? Let me just search for AO1, because I know, yeah, it's something like this. Global LI DAT IDs, I believe, is what I'm looking for here. I'll copy that. Go over here. Should be global dot LI level DAT IDs. Okay, so we're searching for this ID, we're getting that index, we throw that into this function, which I might have to like give the full name for some reason. Whoops. Highlight the whole thing, please. Please. Yeah, it only has this GML underscore script underscore and then the actual thing. That's so weird. My build script apparently has some quirks to it. But it's fine. Okay, so we've got the level offset, so we should be able to say like plus level offset. And it returns an array of 2 elements, an x and a y. So element 0 is the x plus level offset, and x1 should be for the y. So that should be somewhat okay. And then what I want to do in here, just to test it, is we're going to say anytime we enter the spectator view, if DSList size of other racers is greater than 0, then we can set selected racer equal to DSList find value other racers index 0. So just if there are other racers, select the first one in the list. And we're going to use this to test things here. To be honest, he can't even do anything because he lives in his mother's house. Yeah, that's kind of painful. Especially in these times where it's like, it's just generally hard to live on your own, you know? To say plus equals offs. All right, so we'll host, we'll connect. Oh, somebody else is live. Let's go into spectator, and then let's start up a new. Oh, you know what? I have to enter spectator. So as soon as I load up the new instance of the game here, I'll have to exit spectator view and then re-enter it, and then it should do something. I don't know if it's gonna crash. I don't know if it's gonna work correctly. I highly doubt it's gonna work correctly, but okay. So we are now connected. Whoo, I can see the other player. No way, that's so cool. Okay. Let me go into this one, and then we will exit spectator view. We have overlaid music now. Okay, we did get an error. Levelly offset. Okay, that's probably... Alright, I made a typo. This should be... Where did I make the typo? Here we go. No Y. It should be just level offset, not levelly offset. Alright, now let's try that whole process again. Can I start 2 instances, like both at the same time? That'd be handy. There's one of them. Nice, I can. Okay, cool. Alright, let me become a host. Connect. Okay. So I'm here. And then, ooh, what? Where's my mouse? Okay. Now let me enter spectator. I am in spectator. I am just very far away from where I should be, ideally. Yeah, so I can't move anywhere because I've got that racer selected. I'm gonna put this on my other monitor and start moving around, and we can see if the spectator view moves. I'm zoomed out. Oh, yep, there we go. I'm jumping. You can see it wiggling. You can see it wiggling. Okay, let me go into a... Oh. Okay, yep, good point, good point. So the room that the player is currently in might not actually be in that list. So we have to check to see if level index is equal to -1. And if it is, we just don't do anything. But if it's not, then we can actually do this stuff. right? Okay. And then the other thing that we should probably address is the fact that we are like somehow off in Neverland instead of being at the correct location. So what if I just make these negative? What if I instead subtract the level offset? Surely that was the issue, right? I forgot I can start 2 instances at the same time. All right. Host, connect. Where's my other? There we go. Okay, let's connect. Let's enter. Let's just enter AO1. Let's just see if this works, shall we? All right, let me put this on my other monitor here. Okay, that doesn't matter. Go into spectator. We're closer. We're closer. Yeah, now if I now if I jump. Oh, it's moving in the opposite direction. I'm holding left right now. All right, I'm gonna hold right, and you can see the entire world is moving in the opposite direction. Okay. So we're almost there. Okay, and then if I go back out into the level select, yeah, there we go. Oh, you can see me. Hang on. There we go. There I am. Okay. So yeah, these should probably still be pluses. I just don't. Okay, so if I'm dragging my mouse to the right, or like starting on the right and dragging it left, that should be the same direction as if the selected player was moving to the right. So if the current mouse X minus the previous mouse X, which would be larger number minus smaller number, so this would be positive. So we increase the X offset in that instance. Okay, so that makes sense. So why is the level offset being weird? Are we not starting at a scale of 1? I thought we were starting at, yeah, scale is equal to 1. So why is it still being weird? I should probably print something out to get some more info. I'm trying to figure out what to print. Just like the level offset, I guess, maybe? Show message. X level offset index 0 plus Y level offset index 1. Okay. Do the same thing here. Okay, well, yeah, we'll just see what this prints, right? Doesn't print anything. .ip not set before reading it? Oh, unknown object. What? How? Oh. Well, shoot. Okay. Yeah, because if we're the client, then we don't have access to the IP import, which I was using to identify which racer is selected. Okay, so this might be a little bit tougher than I thought. Because, like, the list of racers changes depending on, like, if people connect or disconnect, right? Like, it changes order, so we can't just, like, use the index of the connected racers. So then how... You know what? Give me a second. I don't know why it's so hot in my apartment. I'm gonna adjust my temp real quick. I will be right back. Okay. Apparently, it was 78 in my apartment. I have just turned on my AC, so hopefully it'll get better. How do we identify a racer then? Because, like, previously I didn't really need to. There's, like, not really identifying information if you're the client. I don't need that to open. Yeah, like the only piece of identifying information is where that person is in the list of other players. So, like, if somebody... I mean, I guess that list only really changes in a way that matters if somebody disconnects. Yeah, it's kind of awkward. So, like, there's a I'm keeping a list of all the racers that are connected, right? But it's only if you're the host that you keep track of the other racers, like, IP and port. If you're just somebody connecting, then you don't have access to that information. So then the only, like, identifying information for each individual racer is the location in that list. It's just that when somebody disconnects, that list changes. And so you can't just like store the index into that list. Unless you like are proactive about changing the index. Which I don't know that there's an easy way to do that. So like if you just make it the index, right? If somebody at the end of the list disconnects, then you're fine. The only issue happens when somebody who connected first disconnects, because the entire list gets shifted over. We could, of course, just store the object ID. If we store the object ID, we would still have to check for disconnects. But I feel like that's reasonable. That might work. So we can still use -1 to be like our value that doesn't that means we don't have anything selected. But then instead of like checking the IP and port, we would check, or we would just like, you know what, we should set it to -4 actually. -4 is the default value for like no instance, if that makes sense. Like if the object doesn't exist, then its value is -4. That's kind of like the undefined version of an object ID, except it's different from undefined. You get the idea. Okay. So we store the object ID. So then like in this, instead of storing that, actually no, we would store this. I don't know why I wrote it like that, but that works. It does work. Okay, so now yeah. Yes. Yeah. So now we just want to say if the other racer is equal to the selected racer, right? And this is legitimately only to check whether or not the racer is disconnected. So maybe we can even say selected racer has disconnected. It's a long variable name, but it makes sense. I'll set that to false by default. And then if we find the racer in this array, or in this list, rather, then we know it is we know it's true that the racer is not disconnected. And you know what? We should invert that. So set it to true, assume that the racer has disconnected, and if we find out otherwise, then we can deal with that. So let me grab that variable name and say equals false. And then we break. Okay. So now instead of checking this, we can say if selected racer has disconnected, then we can set the selected racer to -4 and then exit. Okay. Very similar logic, except instead of checking for the IP and port, we just check to see if they've disconnected at all. Because if they're somewhere in this list, that means they're still connected and we're still good to track them. Okay. So now instead of racer data, we can just directly use selected racer. Is there anywhere else we're using? Yes, racer data, racer data. Okay. I'm gonna leave that debug message there. Okay. I think that'll work. I guess we'll find out. Okay. Whoops, wrong key. There we go. Okay. Become host, connect. Okay, let me connect and then enter the unable to convert string to what? Why are you trying to convert a string to a float? I'm sorry? I left off a set of parentheses. Okay. This is what happens when you rely too hard on a compiler. Or I guess just good developing tools in general. Okay. Become host, connect. At least we got a different error this time. That's probably a good sign, right? Okay, this one, let's enter the game, and in this one, we will just enter spectate. 0, 0? If I move to like here. Wait, no, that makes sense, right? Because we're getting the offset of the level. Yeah, I'm dumb. I thought I was printing out something else. Okay. But like the X and Y offset is like that by default. Let me see what I was doing again. I don't understand why that's not working. Is it become host? Oh, what? Did I not? Oh, I didn't get rid of that message. Whoops. That's gonna make it annoying. Okay, get rid of that. Okay. Like, I expect it to behave not correctly, but the way in which it's not behaving correctly is throwing me off. Okay, so I'm in the game in this one. Open up spectator. Then if in this one I move around. Yeah, it's like it's moving in the opposite direction that I am. With the player's location has to be negative? What? I don't feel like that makes sense, but what happens if I just make these negative here? I haven't even accounted for zooming in and out yet, which I don't think will be that hard, but I just want to note that. Okay, so if I make the player's location negative when doing this calculation, did I start a new instance? I don't remember. I'll do this again. Okay, let's enter the game. I can make this one smaller. Okay. No, making the... Well, okay, it's moving in the right direction now. It's just... is it just too far down? No, it's to the right too far as well. Oh, wait, it's like the top left corner. It's just the top left corner. Okay, so I just need to adjust it by half the screen width and height. That's so weird. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding the way that I implemented these offsets, but that... I mean, I guess it works, but I'm still a little bit confused as to why. Okay, so this should be half the width. So if I just go ahead and do I need to subtract this? Subtract half the width? And then subtract half the height? I'm going to shuffle these numbers around so it makes a little bit more sense. Why did my charger stop working? My phone lit up as if I had received a notification, but it was just notifying me that my charger has decided to stop working. Okay. Let's put you up here. Let's connect. Put you over here. Okay, you get to be put in spectator mode. Okay. So it looks like it's not... We shouldn't be subtracting. Okay. Noted, noted. Let's add half of the width and height of the screen. Let's see what happens. Am I dumb? Because we're... I was thinking maybe I had already implemented this equation in this function, but I don't think this is the same thing. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Who needs to like think about the math equations that they're using? You just type in a bunch of numbers and test it and see if it works. Right? Is that not the most sensible way to do math for video games? Okay. Let's introspect. Oh my word. Think about math equations. Would you look at that? Okay, I've disappeared. If I enter AO2. Okay, that is... I'm in the middle of nowhere. But AO1 works. Boing, boing. Boing, 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 boing. From this perspective, it looks... the squishing looks so much more apparent. Boing, boing, boing. Okay, I think I was right earlier about subtracting the level offset. I think that was right. So let's try that. Oh, I've got the search open. Okay. Did I start 2 instances or 1? Nah, this one was totally correct. Look, if I just keep flipping the minus and plus signs, eventually it's gotta work, right? Eventually, I'll end up stumbling into the correct equation, surely. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. It doesn't matter. As long as one of them is a host. Where's my mouse? Okay, there we go. Okay. So the reason it worked for AO1 is because the offset for AO1 is 0, 0. Okay, okay. If I go in here, look at that! I'm in AO11 now. Boop. You can see me in the spectator view. Oh my word. Okay. Now, because this is operating on my, local machine, I'm not actually sending anything over the internet, which means that it's like as smooth as it could possibly be right now. Which is obviously not going to be the case. Which is obviously not going to be the case when you have like network stuff, right? The person you're spectating could be like jittering a little bit. So instead of like directly assigning the offset to these values, we need some kind of smoothing. We need to get smooth. Let's say target X. That's not an underscore. Target X is equal to, and then let's take this opportunity to rearrange this stuff so it's, I mean, they're both negative. That's kind of weird. It's like it's 960 minus the sum of the level offset and the racer's x coordinate, which I actually prefer the level offset being first here. So it's like this. Like, that's kind of a simplified version of that equation. And then I guess I'll just copy paste this, because why not? Y1, and this is a 540. This should say Y, okay. Okay, so then we want to have some kind of interpolation. I think the way that I'm going to do this is we'll just take the average. We'll just say this is equal to the current Y offset plus the target Y. You know what? I'm going to add the word offset onto the end of this just to differentiate it from X and Y. So it's the target Y offset. I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll see what this looks like. It might still be a bit jumpy, but we'll see. So X offset plus target X offset Y by 0. All right. I think that makes sense. I might have missed something blatantly obvious, but I suppose we shall find out. I gotta start 2 instances, right? Every single time I forget whether or not I've already started 2 instances or if I need to. Okay. Oh, okay. Looked like it was doing some interpolating. It is very fast. It's a very fast interpolation. So like if I go into the level select and then go back to AO1, it is very fast. So maybe we can slow it down a bit. By the way, I don't think it would necessarily be suiting this application, but when I originally made a couple of UDP and TCP based multiplayer protocols, I created a custom buffering system to assure more smoothness, but it'd probably be slightly overkill for this, and to be frank, I kind of forgot a lot of my decisions. So Squid, you need to shut up. I have tried to implement something similar, and I don't know why it didn't reduce the jittering. I don't think that it's overkill for this project. I just think that I probably didn't put enough effort into trying to solve it yet. But I have tried a couple of different things to try and reduce the jittering, including the buffer. But I think probably the best way to eliminate jittering is sending some kind of timestamp along with each packet, which I'm not currently doing. But like, because of the way that I've designed the packets, they're very sensitive to any kind of change in what data gets sent. So I'm kind of hesitant to actually implement that kind of a thing right now. But if you send a timestamp along with the packet, then it's a lot easier to like make estimates about where the player actually is or where they should be based on the time that you receive the packet versus the timestamp that the packet actually has in its data. And yeah, there's the buffer system where you can like delay what gets shown on screen by a couple of frames. And I don't know why that didn't work. I did try it. I might have implemented something wrong, but there was definitely still jittering. which is very annoying. But I'll give it another shot eventually. I think it is technically on my to-do list here. It's just at the very bottom. Oh yeah, I forgot about this part. Maybe preventing malicious users from crashing the game is probably a good thing, but this is much more enjoyable to develop, so let's focus on this. It's not actually that hard to prevent that. I think we just need like a try-catch block, but don't worry about it. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me make this a little bit smaller. Do you guys think that it's the camera's moving too fast? Let me again go to yeah, so like if the selected player's not like within view, then it doesn't do anything. Ouch. Is it too fast? I feel like let me go to a level. It's EO8, right? That's the long drop. Let me test to see what dropping down really fast does. Willow Snow is fast paced, it feels alright? Okay. That doesn't seem too bad. Wait, do I even not... I don't even need to add, like... I thought I had to... I thought I was going to have to add, like, code explicitly for dealing with zooming in and out, but... I guess the way that I'm handling zoom doesn't actually work like that. Okay. Cool. I fixed an issue that I wasn't even having. Easy game. Oh, okay. I was so confused why this spike was here. Like... I forgot I didn't turn off automatic difficulty. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. Now the level layout is... okay. But, okay, cool. Yeah, so... I mean, this is exactly what I wanted, right? I wanted the ability to just zoom in and out. Hello, Shelly. How's it going? Yeah, you can you can look at the entire game while you're technically watching this one person. But okay, cool. I mean, that's... if that speed works, like, you know, we can make it slower, I think. How do I want to do this? Because you would want to weight them, right? So you would want to say like times like 0.6 times 0.6 times 0.4, something like this. Maybe we make it a little bit more extreme for the first test. 0.7 and 0.3. Let's try. Should be the same, like, same type of interpolation, just slower. Interesting. I mean, a 2-byte frame timestamp would already be helpful for that, but my main concern would be rather that there might be something more basic causing jittering if buffering barely changes anything. But yeah, then timestamps would fix that inherently. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with it because I tried like I said, I tried a bunch of different solutions and none of them seemed to get rid of the jitter. Like, I'm sure they changed something, it just wasn't very noticeable, and so it's very hard to tell what exactly was effective. And it's entirely possible that I need like some combination of different solutions in order to actually fix things. But like I said, I'll have to look into it more. It's getting late. That's why it took me a while how to phrase it. Okay. I'll head to bed in a couple of minutes. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here. Yeah, no, it's cool that you've also done something similar. I don't... Did you mention what it was for? Or you just said that you had messed around with UDP TCP stuff? Should I even be asking you questions? You did just say that you wanted to you were going to bed. Okay. So it still looks like about the same. If I go to a dramatically different level here. CO4, how's about? I honestly can't really tell the difference. Maybe we need like a significantly more dramatic change here. Let's make it like 0.9 and 0.1. Maybe that'll be a big enough difference. Let's see. I'm definitely not eligible to talk about this at the moment, but I'm generally just interested / open to help if possible. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Because I'm sure I just implemented something wrong, so it'd be cool to potentially have somebody else take a look. Obviously, no pressure or anything. I don't expect you to do any work for me or anything. It was a generic protocol suited for Godot. Do you pronounce it Godot or Godot? Very important question. I know I've already pronounced it, so you probably know my opinion about it, but I'm curious. Okay, that seems a little bit smoother. Paper plane, easy. I was looking at the spectator view. Okay, so what happens if I teleport here? I pronounce it the non-German way, so Godot. Okay. I pronounce it Godot because their logo looks like a robot, and robot kind of rhymes with Godot. But I know that's somewhat of an unpopular opinion. See, I feel like this just looks better, no? Like it's not a huge difference, but I feel like it does look better. Am I crazy? I like it. I think it looks better. Okay. I'm fine with either. Yeah. I'm not like super opinionated about it, but I at least am probably not going to change the way that I pronounce it because I do like pronouncing it Godot. Fair argument that character would not pronounce it differently. Okay, so that this should work. This should work. Now the only thing I need to do is actually implement some way, some way for you to select which player you want to spectate. And I have kind of a fun idea for that, I think. Honestly, I might call the stream here because I am kind of hungry, and making UI stuff is not the most enjoyable. But yeah, let me at least point to what I think is a good idea. So no, not that one. What is SQ eyebrow? Here we go. There is this sprite. You know what? Maybe it's better if I squid visuals. There we go. So you see how Squid's eyes are drawn? Where it's like, it's the square brackets, but vertical. And then you got the dot in the middle. I can use those sprites to draw an eye icon just to the left of each of the players' names on the leaderboard. And those can be buttons that I can then click on, and it will take me to that player. Thoughts? I think that'd be pretty cool. And it would scale with the leaderboard. So if your leaderboard is like massive, then the button would be bigger as well. So then you could just click on the squid icon, and it would take you to the player. I think that'd be pretty cool. See you then. Have a good meal. All right. Have a good one. I appreciate you being here. And dream of sweet you suffers and gunshots. I will do my best to make sure I dream of that. I think the graphics design apartment wouldn't confirm, but I give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, like, we can put a background on it, right? So like it's an actual button, but it just also has the eye drawn on it. Cause I don't know, what are you gonna have, a text button that's like, look at this player or something, or follow this player, you know? I feel like it'd be cool to have a little eye icon drawn from Squid's body parts, you know? Feel like it'd be cool. All right. Anyway, that's gonna have to wait for next stream. Speed Sailing Saturday is tomorrow, right? I wonder if even without the lock-on feature where you can like look at a certain player, even without that, I think technically it's like the spectator view is complete. So I could just do a straight up beta release. I'd have to edit the code a little bit more to make sure that you don't get the lock-on feature when you don't want it, but I don't know. I'll try and put together another release here before tomorrow that has like all the levels laid out and everything properly in time for Speed Sailing Saturday. But that's going to be it for the stream. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. Hope you have a good weekend. No stream tomorrow. Peace. See ya.